BTS surprised. Jungkook snags 2 prestigious awards simultaneously in Korea and America. How could his strategy be this powerful? Nothing has been more surprising to the K-pop industry and the international music scene this week than the fact that Jungkook, the magnate of BTS, who has now become a global soloist, managed to win 2 of the most prestigious awards at once, one in South Korea and another in the United States. How could this young artist from Busan conquer 2 of the world's largest music markets at the same time? What is the hidden strategy behind this double achievement that even surprised his colleagues in BTS? The first victory came from the Melon Music Awards 2025 Korea, where Jungkook was named Best Male Solo Artist after his album Golden dominated the domestic charts for months. Just 2 days later, he achieved his second victory at the Billboard Music Awards in the United States, winning Top Global K-pop Song for the single 7. This fact immediately caused admiration, considering that only a handful of Korean artists have ever brought home a Billboard award as a soloist. This success confirms one important thing. Jungkook is no longer just a member of BTS launching a solo project. He has officially become a global artist with an independent reputation and influence. However, what raises deeper questions is how he managed to balance popularity in 2 regions with completely different market characters. Is it just because of the big name of BTS? Or are there special promotional and musical tactics behind it? In-depth analysis from Korean music experts mentions that Jungkook's double success is rooted in a multi-market targeting strategy neatly arranged by HYB labels. The Golden album was produced with an international team such as Andrew Watt, Circuit, and David Stewart, ensuring its quality is competitive in the global arena. The songs were recorded entirely in English or a bilingual Korean-English mix, such as 7 and 3D, which facilitated radio penetration in America and captivated local listeners in Korea who still wanted a touch of their national identity. Not only that, every release of Jungkook is combined with cinematic visual promotions. The 7 music video reached 100 million views in 10 days, while Standing Next to You featured Michael Jackson-style choreography that boosted the TikTok challenge virally. On the other hand, in South Korea, the song Standing Next to You topped the Melon Top 100 for weeks without special television promotion, proving that the strength of the music and its own fan base was enough to dominate the domestic market. One of the most surprising elements for the public is how BTS colleagues responded to this double victory. In an online interview on Weverse, RM said, "I know Jungkook is great, but 2 awards at once in Korea and America in just a few days. That's crazy." Jin, who had just completed his military service, even added jokingly, "I retired a few years ago and our magnate has conquered 2 continents." Deeper, industry observers emphasize that Jungkook's double victory breaks the old pattern where K-pop artists only target one specific market to maximize their chances of winning. Jungkook's strategy instead emphasizes parallel targeting, namely launching singles with different formats that are relevant to the Western and Eastern markets at the same time. 7 with Lotto targets American pop dance radio, while Standing Next to You maintains the emotional R&B ballad style favored in Korea. In addition, his media campaign also features a personal approach rarely taken by K-pop idols. Instead of just relying on official promotions, Jungkook often does spontaneous Weverse lives until the early hours of the morning, interacting directly with millions of global fans. This strategy has proven to increase brand intimacy, a factor that makes the loyal fan base not just music consumers, but voluntary promoters on social media. In America, 7 topped the Billboard Hot 100 upon debut, a record that no other Korean soloist has ever achieved before. The song also broke into the top 40 radio charts, rhythmic and adult pop, which are generally dominated by Western artists. Meanwhile, in South Korea, Golden broke the record for the highest debut solo album sales in history, with more than 2.4 million copies sold in the first week. If analyzed from a marketing perspective, Jungkook's double victory is not merely a coincidence. HYB partnered with Universal Music Group for American distribution, ensuring his music was immediately pushed to Spotify and Apple Music's main editorial playlists. This placement increases the likelihood of the song being heard by non-BTS fans, expanding exposure among the general public. This is reflected in Spotify data, which shows Golden reaching 1 billion streams in just 1 month. The question now, is this double victory the peak of Jungkook's solo career or a stepping stone to the next, more ambitious stage? Some Billboard observers predict that after this victory, the next step is a solo world tour targeting major stadiums in America and Europe. HYB itself has not confirmed, but internal sources say the global tour schedule is being finalized for announcement later this year. Jungkook's double victory in the world's 2 largest markets proves one thing. He is not just a Korean solo artist, but has now become a global entity with musical credibility, cross-country promotion strategies, and pop culture influence that transcends geographical boundaries. The fact that BTS was surprised by the scale only reinforces the magnitude of his success. If in a short time he was able to conquer Korea and America at once, the world is waiting for the next step, and K-pop history is now writing the name of a soloist who dares to cross the line, Jungkook. But behind the roar of praise, applause, and tears of emotion from Jungkook's fans, a much deeper question arises that we deserve to reflect on together. Is Jungkook's double victory in Korea and America truly a monumental achievement? Or is it actually just part of HYB's massive marketing strategy to dominate the global music stage? Is the publication of this victory entirely factual and authentic? Or has some of it been curated in such a way as to create a narrative of the first global soloist from Korea that will facilitate the agency's business expansion in the United States and Europe? We need to ask ourselves this before getting carried away by the hype. Did the Korean and Billboard media who wrote about this success do so because they were driven by pure journalistic admiration? Or is there a commercial agenda behind the scenes that demands exposure and strategic justification to boost the company's stock price? Try to look deeper. Was the surprised reaction of BTS reported on Weverse Live entirely spontaneous? Or was it designed to be part of Jungkook's promotional narrative as the magne of BTS who conquered the world? Don't we often see how the Korean entertainment industry designs artist reaction scripts to keep their image warm and humble in the eyes of the public? The next question, if this victory is purely genuine, why is the time difference between the announcement in Korea and Billboard America only 2 days apart? Do the judging and assessment systems really put Jungkook at the top, or was the victory driven by the strength of the fandom and the international label network that has been locked in since the beginning of his solo debut planning? Don't we know that Billboard now includes radio airplay metrics, paid promotion, and editorial playlisting, which are often criticized by music observers as gray market areas full of label negotiations? We also need to ask ourselves, is Universal Music Group and Geffen Records' distribution strategy really done to introduce Jungkook's original talent to the world? Or is it because they realize that BTS is the most profitable brand in the world today? With billions of dollars in profits from BTS, of course for them Jungkook is not just a talented artist, but also an invaluable asset commercially. Isn't every promotion done not only about the quality of the music, but about extracting as much economic value as possible before the hype cycle shifts to another artist? On the other hand, is it true that every fantastic Spotify stream or YouTube view is completely organic? Have we ever asked how much influence the ARMY streaming party that is organized every second around the world has? If the data does not reflect natural popularity and only relies on fanbase loyalty, can we still call it global success, or is it just a closed victory in the fandom ecosystem? Another striking question is, why do Korean and American media rarely include critical analysis of the mental health impact on K-pop artists who are constantly forced to work to penetrate the global market? Does Jungkook's victory at the Billboard and Melon Music Awards really bring him happiness, Or does it add pressure to continue producing hit music to meet public and label expectations? We should also reflect, in the midst of this victory narrative, are there other Korean solo artists who actually have equal quality but fail to get a stage because they are not supported by giant labels? Do the K-pop industry and international media really judge music objectively, or do they still choose based on connections, promotional capital, and fandom strength? Furthermore, what if Jungkook's double victory is just part of South Korea's soft-power geopolitical strategy through Hallyu to maintain cultural influence amid declining exports of their electronic and automotive products? Doesn't history record how K-pop was deliberately promoted by the Korean government since the early 2000s as part of the country's cultural diplomacy? And finally, have we as viewers really examined the news sources we read? Please note, we have summarized information about June.